Oh, hi, everybody. It's April 12th. I'm Ezra Levant, and you're watching Battleground. Hello and welcome. It's great to see you. I'm Ezra Levant. I'm the Rebel Commander here at the Rebel.media. I'm the only one who calls myself that, but hey, let me have it. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern time, I like to sit in front of the YouTubes and chat with you, show you video clips that, maybe they didn't make my nightly show, and most importantly, to take your comments. As you can see to the right of the video panel is the comments section. We have some regulars. I see Proud Boy Calgary's there. El Chepacabra is there. Lauren Southern, spelt the masculine way, is there. Lots of friendly regulars. And new folks come and go also. You can make your comment. You can make your comment in bold highlighted colors, and I see it out of the corner of my eye, and I make a point of reading those. That costs you a few bucks or whatever currency you're using. And we get 70% of that, which is good because, of course, YouTube has demonetized us along with the rest of conservative YouTubers. We have a lot of viewers from around the world. That's the fun thing about the internet. And so, for example, some of our most favorite battlegrounds have been about Tommy Robinson, because there's so much censorship in the United Kingdom that a lot of UK viewers rely on the Rebel to get the facts about that situation. Isn't that funny? We love talking about American politics. It's just so colorful, especially in the era of Donald Trump and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. But today I want to focus on my home province of Alberta. I don't live there now. I'm in exile in Ontario. But there's a very exciting and important election in Alberta where the socialist incumbents, who were voted in really by accident last time because of the bad behavior of the two conservative parties, or at least one of them, they're about to be thrown out on April 16th. 4 days from today. It's going to be a wipeout. They are going to be crushed like a bowl of eggs. But they have done enormous damage in the 4 years they've been in power, and it will take many more years to undo. I want to show you about 10 little video clips today, and I hope you enjoy them. I just went through them, and enjoy them is probably the wrong word because they're so infuriating. I want to start with a video that we just put up yesterday that I think is one of the most beautiful videos we have ever produced. It's like a Coen Brothers film. You know what I'm talking about? Quirky, funny, a little bit, dangerous feeling sometimes, like edgy. How long is the Kean video altogether? It's about 7 minutes long, and I don't know if I want to play all 7 of it, but let me start. I might stop it in some points because there's some parts of it that are so beautiful. I don't think I'm going to play all 7 minutes because we have to use the time for a bunch more videos. But this will give you a flavor for how it is. This video I'm going to show you stars our Calgary reporter, Kean Bexty, who commissioned the Jumbotron truck in Calgary. And this one has loudspeakers on it. Most of our Jumbotron trucks don't have speakers, so it's just a visual treat. This is a treat for the ears as well. So let's play this, and I'll just signal when we'll take a break. So here's a video. It gives you the flavor of the Alberta election, what we're up against, and just look at this.
As you can see right behind me, the billboard is here. It's in Calgary. It was a quick turnaround, and we're just down the road from Anne McGrath's campaign office. You can see it right there. We're going to drive this bad boy around Anne McGrath's constituency to make sure that her constituents know that Anne McGrath in 1984 deemed it a good idea to run under the ideology of Stalin, Marx, and Chairman Mao. She's tried to censor us at every turn, but she can't censor this. I'm very excited. Let's hop into the truck and start driving. So I'm in the billboard truck. I'm very excited still. And we just left the University of Calgary. Campus security came and kicked us off. Not much of a surprise. I guess they told us that we needed to book the space. I didn't know that you needed to book roads. But whatever, it was kind of expected. We're on our way to Rachel Notley's campaign stop now. It's just outside of Calgary Varsity, but it's being co-hosted with the communist Anne McGrath. So we're going to go park outside of the event and see if we can catch some Notley or some Notley supporters looking at the board. So I'm standing right outside of the bread line at Rachel Notley's campaign stop here with Anne McGrath. You can see behind me, the billboard is right there. The refresh rate on my camera is probably not going to pick it up. But I'm going to go into this bread line here and ask if they even knew that Anne McGrath was a communist in the first place. We'll see what they have to say. Do you support Anne McGrath even though she ran as a communist in 1980?
Okay, I want to stop it there because now we get into basically he's doing interviews in what he calls the bread line for a Rachel Notley event. Wasn't that truck beautiful? And that's the odious Soviet anthem that was blaring. But those little vignettes of seeing people confused by the truck, cheering the truck, are they cheering for the communist? Are they cheering against the communist? I don't know, but I found it riveting. There were some real characters that Kean interviewed. I don't think we have the time to watch a lot of them, but can you find the fella from Hong Kong? Oh boy. It's funny because there's, I'd say about almost 10% of Calgary is Chinese Canadian. And a lot of those folks came either from mainland China, where they were living under communism, or they came from Hong Kong, some from Taiwan, where they were under the threat of communism. But Hong Kong, of course, is one of the freest cities in the world. It is now part of China proper, but it has, they're saying one country, two systems was the phrase. So Hong Kong is still very free, certainly freer than Canada. And I haven't been to Hong Kong in over 10 years, but obviously that was long after it was annexed by China, and it was still extremely free. I could find any anti-China, anti-communist propaganda or political agitator. I saw Falun Gong protesters. In fact, it was shocking how there were so much great anti-communist political activity that I saw in Hong Kong. That's me just killing time before. Do we have the Chinese, the Hong Kong fella? Take a look at this guy.
Not always.
Were you aware that Anne McGrath ran as a communist in 1984?
You must be kidding. You must be kidding.
No, I'm not. She did. It's crazy, hey?
I don't think you. This is bad.
Why?
This is bad.
Running as a communist?
When I was in Hong Kong, I was a communist. I was a capitalist for many years.
A communist capitalist?
I'm a capitalist. You are a very terrible person.
Thank you.
Now, I'm not sure if I think maybe he thinks that because Kean has that communist song and communist hammer and sickle on his billboard truck, that Kean is the communist. I think that guy from Hong Kong misspoke when he said, I was a communist for many years. I think he meant capitalist. There's not really any communists in Hong Kong. So I think he was mad at Kean because he thought Kean was a commie. It's a shame he missed the point that the person he was going to meet, Anne McGrath, was a commie. Anyways, I won't show you the whole video. I recommend you find it on our YouTube page because Kean actually manages to convince a New Democrat voter, who I presume is socialist, to vote against the NDP now that she realizes there's a communist there. It's, you know what, frankly, I should have just played the whole video because it was so great, but I want to move on. Can I recommend that you go elsewhere on our YouTube page once this live chat is done and find that amazing video and watch the whole thing? All right, I wanted to get that out of the way because that is what's happening on the streets of Alberta right now. But I was thinking about the battle that we have been waging, frankly, here at the Rebel for 4 years. We were the first to really ring the alarm against Rachel Notley. And in fact, in 2015, I had a town hall meeting, in four town hall meetings in the course of a week in Alberta. I did one in Calgary, one in Edmonton, one in Fort McMurray, and then a second one in Calgary. And I just did some basic research, and I had some friends help me with the research of shocking things that I had found in 2015 that were an obvious premonition of what the government would be like. And as you may know, I wrote the book called Ethical Oil, The Case for Canada's Oil Sands. And I had a lot of friends who were pro-oil, a lot of people even in the oil and gas industry who said, no, Ezra, it's not that bad. We can work with them. We found ourselves an NDP-connected lobbyist, and we've paid a $100,000 retainer, and these are pro-oil and gas New Democrats. It's not going to be that bad. No. These are all kind of New Democrats. We can work with them. In fact, Ezra, you shouldn't criticize them. That'll just create bad blood. Oh, Lord Thunder and Jesus, were they wrong? I want to show you some of the things that I showed, my warnings from 2015, 4 years ago. And I just went through my presentation again. I'm going to show it to you really now. Every single warning here came true and then some. Can you start with the video called Brian Mason, No Exports? So this is Brian Mason, who is a senior cabinet minister in Rachel Notley's government. The clip I'm about to show you was when he was in opposition. So remember, this was a town hall meeting I had immediately after the government was elected. So all the research I had was when they were in opposition. But if someone for 20, 30 years, or 10 years, or 5 years, is anti-pipeline, anti-oil, anti-oil sands, it's safe to assume, A, they mean it, and B, their past behavior is a predictor of future behavior. So here's a clip, it's only 26 seconds long, of Brian Mason, senior Rachel Notley cabinet minister, when he was in opposition, saying he doesn't want any export pipelines for oil and gas. Take a look.
To the Premier, will your government commit to prevent unprocessed bitumen from being exported on any new pipelines that are built under this agreement, and if not, why not? Honourable Deputy. But pipelines create very few long-term jobs. The Northern Gateway will only create 217. Upgrading the bitumen here would create thousands of good-paying permanent jobs. Why does this government support pipelines that shift investment and jobs to the United States and China?
Sorry, that's so low res. I was just running that off my PowerPoint video. He's against pipelines. I love that phrase. I've never heard anyone in the oil patch or even any real Albertans say, why are we shipping unprocessed bitumen to the United States? Yeah, normal people call that crude oil, buddy. And it's actually Canada's largest export, most lucrative export. It gets paid in American dollars, so it's sort of the best kind of export. And this know-nothing socialist thinks it's a bad thing. And indeed, for 4 years, they did oppose pipelines. I heard so many clips, so many warnings, but can you go to the one called Colin Piquet Embarrassed? So this is one of Rachel Notley's more pro-business MLAs. His name is Colin Piquet. His dad was Leo Piquet. And he was one of only 2 MLAs in the entire NDP caucus who actually worked in the private sector as an entrepreneur. The rest of them were mainly public sector union workers or union organizers. So this Colin Piquet was one of the pro-business types. Here he is at a rally, a press conference really, with a special international focus. So he was demonizing Alberta to the foreign media. Take a look at this.
We just started organizing. We have members internationally, we have members in Europe, we have many members in interest in the United States. This is going to become a global issue again, and it's going to become a global issue that's going to be to the incredible shame and detriment of this province. As an Albertan, I don't want to do that. I'd rather be proud of where I'm from, right? But how can you? How can you know that in your name, your province is destroying people as if they don't even exist, right? Just kind of brush aside. This is just got to stop, and we're not going to be going anywhere until it does stop.
It comes across as a bit of a weirdo, frankly, but let's put aside the quirks and focus on the substance. Did you see the sign behind him? Amnesty and the United Nations condemn Alberta. And he says he's embarrassed. The sound quality was poor there, but he condemns Alberta. Can you go to the one right before that called Colin Paquette Comedy Group? I want to show you a little bit more from that same protest. So this is just to explain what we're doing here. We're showing you Rachel Notley's MLAs, candidates, cabinet ministers, and their history of condemning not just particular practices in oil and gas, which could be legitimate, by the way, but all oil and gas industry in Alberta itself. I want to show you some bizarre, kooky, Antifa-style, foreign-funded, wacko protest comedy skit or something. This was endorsed heartedly, emceed by Rachel Notley's MLA. Take a look.
From the Republic of Greed Oilia. We have our federal and provincial negotiators from the Republic of Greed Oilia.
Where are the people here? The people, well, you know, there's a few in those trees over there. I guess there's a couple in this building still that are a little upset that we're here.
It's almost empty back.
Excuse me, sir, we want to put up a derrick here? Yeah, there you go. See progress, ladies and gentlemen, progress.
We gotta drink that water! Don't we have a right in the Constitution or something over this?
Constitution?
So you'll see that Colin Paquette, that's Rachel Notley's MLA, was part of the skit. He put on some funny hat there, and they were saying that Alberta is the Republic of Greed Oilia, or whatever he said, the kingdom, and there was a sign there accusing Albertans of genocide. So that's where we are with the NDP, who are now pretending to be pro-oil and gas. Can you go ahead to, I just want to, here's one, it's not really on oil and gas. It just shows how wacko these folks are. It's called Loyola Rap. So there's this one MLA who, perpetual student, like I think he was like in his 30s and he was still at the University of Alberta. And I think he was a students' union activist or something, like the worst kind of person. And he put his name on the ballot as like a joke. Of course, they were all sacrificial candidates. And then, of course, they all won by accident. I want to show you Rod Loyola, a Rachel Notley MLA. Now, this really doesn't go to his ideology, although it sort of does. It goes to just the caliber of people who have been running Alberta for the last 4 years. Here is Rod Loyola, rap star. Take a look.
As a people's poet, I have a few rhymes that I'd like to share with you today. And it goes like this. About to hit the mic quiet, subversively, coming at you with ingenuity, breaking down indoctrination of capitalist commodification that's taken over your mind, attacking you all the time through daily media blips like drive-by hits. The clip just hit the ground. We've been broken and bound, tied up behind enemy lines, incarcerated and confined. To break free, we need to have an urban guerrilla mentality. Observe your enemy, analyze strength and weaknesses, use the same ammunition. Oh man, I forgot my lines.
You know, thank God he forgot his lines. Whatever would bring that mercifully to an end. That guy won as an MLA, and I'm not going to indulge in jokes about him, but there's about 200 that come to mind. I'll let you make the jokes, okay? But that's a real story. You know, let me show you a serious one. Can you do the anti-Israel clip of Rod Loyola? So he's a weirdo. He's a loser. He's a beat poet. That's all funny. But here's just he's a left-wing hater, bizarre Marxist. Like here he is on Israel, for example, terrorism.
One of the main activities that we do is Israeli Apartheid Week, which we are currently doing at the moment, which is this week. So for example, we brought in Huwaida Araf, who's a member of the International Solidarity Movement with Palestine, and she's one of the main organizers of the flotillas that are going to Palestine next month. One of the other activities that we do on the University of Alberta campus, or in the community at large, is also organizing as part of the Boycott, Divestment and Sanctions campaign.
Yeah, so he boycotts the Jews. It's about normal for the NDP these days. Can you also play, it's in there, the Hugo Chavez one? So I forget where Rod Loyola comes from. I don't know what country he's from. But when Hugo Chavez died, I think, or maybe it was Hugo Chavez was alive, but he had a sort of celebration for that communist tyrant, and I think he was doing it in concert with the Cuban consulate or something. Take a look at this.
Long live Hugo Chavez. Long live the values that he stood for. Compañero Presidente Hugo Chavez.
Yeah, that ain't normal, folks. That ain't normal. I mean, for a students' union, that's normal. But for the government of Alberta, that ain't normal. That ain't normal. All right, that's hard to look at. I want to show you Rachel Notley, though. There's so many clips here. Can you go to the one called Rachel Notley telling Americans the oil sands are clean isn't true? So this is when she's in opposition. Remember, I put these video clips together in 2015, the month after Notley became elected. So all the clips I have are from her in opposition. But like I say, if you're in opposition for a decade and you keep saying the same things year after year, yeah, it's a safe bet you believe in them. So here she is criticizing, I think the premier at the time was Ed Stelmach, who had gone to, or maybe it was someone else, I don't know, it doesn't matter. The Conservative Premier of Alberta had gone to the United States to say, hey guys, our oil is ethical, it's clean, certainly it's more ethical than OPEC oil. So doing a sales job for Alberta, which is the part of the job of an Alberta Premier. Here's Rachel Notley saying you're lying. Take a look.
Mr. Speaker, in Washington, the Premier told a story, and I quote, "The truth is that Alberta is home to some of the most environmentally friendly progressive legislation in the world." Clearly, the Premier is confused about how to use the word truth in a sentence. Given that Dr. Schindler said even the village idiot couldn't deny the significant impact the oil sands have on the environment, and given Alberta's inaction and denial on almost every facet of environmental protection means that this government has not yet risen to village idiot status, why is this minister standing by while the Premier intentionally and knowingly makes public statements?
Yeah, I mean, only a village idiot would believe that the oil sands are clean. Why are you lying to Americans? Why don't you tell the truth? Alberta is an awful place, and every village idiot knows that. It's not quite as funny as the half-ton beat poet, but it's a lot scarier, isn't it? I'm angry. You know, speaking of lies, I got so many clips here, so I want to show you one. Can you go to the one, Rachel Notley Zombie? Can you play that one? Can you find that one? I got about 10 clips here of Rachel Notley. She's actually far scarier than that goofy, Jew-hating, Castro-loving beat poet, because he's a clown. Here's one, Rachel Notley. She's really worried about ducks, guys. I mean, she's really, really worried. Take a look.
What this tragedy represents is a great deal of pain and suffering to the ducks, but also it represents the inherent conflict that exists between unbridled industrial growth that is conflicted with environmental protection, health protection, and community protection. We have, in the last few weeks, observed people from Fort Ship, for instance, come down to the legislature begging the Premier to come and visit Fort Ship so that they could get agreement from the government to fund a proper health and safety study. We've seen other people from Fort Ship come down and show tumored fish and, who are swimming in the water that are being poisoned.
So she calls the death of some ducks. There are millions, tens of millions of ducks People hunt ducks, people eat ducks. Ducks are about as plentiful as mice, really. So some ducks sat down in a toxic tailings pond. Toxic. All oil is toxic, as in if you ingest it, it's not good for you. And they died. And she used the word tragedy. Called that a tragedy. She said it's because of unbridled industrial growth. She talked about a tumored fish. I should tell you that the oil sands have been in place for millions of years, millions. Aboriginal people first discovered the oil sands where seams of the bitumen were exposed, and they used it to waterproof their canoes. I have been on the rivers in Fort McMurray. In fact, can you grab that video of me tasting bitumen? If you do Ezra Fort McMurray tasting. I go on the river, you can see the oil, so I actually tasted some, which was sort of a weird thing to do. It's been that way for forever, before people were here. To blame industrial activity for the fact that fish are exposed to bitumen is just a lie, which tells me that when she said that, she had maybe never actually been up there or something. If you think that mankind is the reason the oil sands and the bitumen are in the water, no, it's in the water because that's where it is. And if you've ever been in the rivers, and I have, it was a very wonderful experience, the oil is there. And I don't know, are you mad at God because he put it there, or geological, formations, whatever you would say is the reason for it? My friend Justin is just finding a clip of me eating the oil sands, which I want to show you for vanity reasons. El Chepacabra says, will the Rebel have a live show election night? Yes, we will. Thank you for asking. And Sheila and Kian and I will be involved with that, so I hope you watch. Can you fast forward? Start from the beginning, where I'm looking really, really like Rod Loyola, just flopping everywhere. And then if you can fast forward to where I smell it and taste it, I want to show people what bitumen's actually like. But open, I think it's, I forget what song is playing, but it was pretty fun. Take a look.
Settlers have found, and then they ended up finding a use for it.
So, it's just here in the riverbed in globs.
This is it right here.
Okay, keep playing this. We'll play the part of me smelling and tasting. Put that back up, and then I'll show the fast
cookies and
part
cream.
later.
You're making me hungry.
It actually feels like that, if you'd like to, but I don't want to get you dirty.
Well, I'll touch it. Yeah, that's very, very sticky, sandy. It looks a little bit like an Oreo cookie crust, like those little grains, right?
Yeah, there's a big chunk.
There's a big chunk there. Yeah. Okay. Let's. Whoa! Look what Robbie's got. Look at this. Now this is sticky. That's sticky.
This is exactly what you find in the mine. When I worked at Suncor for almost 10 years, and this is exactly what they dig out of the ground with the shovels.
Now look at that. I've got the sand off my fingers, but that's going to be a trick to get off my hands now.
Oh yeah. It'll be. You'll get full of spots if you were to swim in the river, like almost everybody does here that enjoy the river. Right?
Yeah, well, it's a great river special on a hot day. Now, Steve, you said it's coming right out over here.
So I'm standing on this is actually oil sand in the Clearwater River bar that comes out, and you just reach down and you can see the oil on the surface here, and this is
I see the sheen. I see the rainbow sheen.
That's right.
There.
And this is and it's got a very distinct smell, and that's oil sand.
Yeah.
And this is a World Heritage River.
That's got an interesting smell, and it's just natural.
It's here.
It's just
and in the oil sands we're cleaning it up.
Yeah, that's the thing. When you're done with the oil sands,
it's white.
You dump the sand back, which is white, and the oil is shipped to people who use it.
Right, who need it. Absolutely.
Now I know what it looks like. I know what it feels like. I know what it smells like. Is it stupid to put your tongue on it and taste it?
Yeah, probably.
I just want to, part of me feels compelled to just taste it. Is that poisonous? It's just like oil. It's just oil, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever tasted bitumen?
I don't think so. Not on
purpose. It would be like eating motor oil.
Yeah, well.
So you're saying don't do it.
I think
It is
motor
not
oil.
an Oreo. It's not a crushed up Oreo cookie.
See, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that I know what Oreos taste like. That looks like Oreos. That's amazing. If I had a chunk of Oreo that big, whoa, look at that. Here, come look at this. Look at that. Look at how oily that bitumen, and that's just right here in the Clearwater. It's called the Clearwater River, and that's just right here seeping into the water year after year, millennium after millennium.
Smell that. I wish you could smell that. That's what the oil sands smell like. That's the plant. That's what we do.
Smells like freedom to me.
It starts out black. You go up there, you see the whole area. It starts out black like this, and we turn it white.
Now
I'm serious.
You know I'm gonna taste this. Is it just
Go
going to
for it.
stick on my tongue? It's like a kid on the beach. You put sand in his mouth, spits it out, learns never to do it again. This, it's amazing that this is rolling right out into the river.
What does it taste like? Not that bad?
If there's no comparison, it tastes like oil sand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really taste like anything. I mean, I'm not gonna eat it.
We're not putting it on the.
I'm just curious. I mean,
on the menu.
I'm just curious. I mean, I know that there was sort of a childish thing to do, but aren't you curious? I mean, this is the first time I've ever been out here in the heart of this beautiful Clearwater River.
Frankly, I have tasted it working in the mine so long. It's just not something that I feel like eating right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, you've been doing this for 40. I want to know everything about bitumen because I'm certainly not going to learn about it. What's my point, people? Yeah, the fish have been swimming in that river since before there were people. The oil sands, or bitumen, if you want to be technical about it, has been on that river since before there were people. And Rachel Notley claims that fish are dying because of, what did she say, unbridled industrial growth? Really? Now, just for fun, can I show you, it's right at the very, very beginning of that clip. Can I just show you, the reason my hair was swept back like that was not because I styled it that way, but because I was in a jet boat. The river is shallow, so it doesn't actually have a propeller. I don't know how it works. I don't know, there was no propeller on the boat, but oh my God, was it fast. I think it was going 50 miles an hour. Take a look. I think that's the fastest I've ever been on in a boat. It was extremely fast, and you couldn't even, there was no point in talking, you couldn't hear each other. You saw my friend Robbie Picard was there also, which was pretty fun. So thanks for letting me show you that. I see some super chats. Let me take a look at that. Dave Black chips in $5. Thank you for that. And I think there's one more super chat. Let me find it. It was so much fun there on that river. You know what? What was sort of cool was Amanda Ackman, who worked with us back then, was braced up against the front of the boat filming. And I think we were going 50 miles an hour. Now maybe you'd say, well, no, it just seemed that way because, the wind was in your face. No, it was extremely fast. And kudos to her for not falling into the river while filming that. Proud Boys Calgary, when will election show start? Writing an exam. Thank you for asking. Is it 15 minutes before the close of polls? Is that? Yeah, so I think we're going to start it at 7:45 Alberta time, which is 9:45 Eastern time. I think the plan is for Sheila and Kian to be out there in Calgary, and I think I'm going to be here in Toronto, although, boy, I should probably go out there. I think I'm going to be here, and our technical team's going to be here, and Sheila and Kian are going to be out there. I think that's just how it is. And look, they've done the coverage during this election campaign. Let them be there, and I could be here, although, who knows, maybe at the last minute. I'm going to just go because maybe I should be there. Okay, let me see if there's any other clips from way back when that I want to show you. There's just so many of Rachel Notley.
let me show you a lie from Notley. It's called abysmal water monitoring. Again, this is from my town hall meeting videos in 2015. Alberta's water is monitored more closely than any other water in the world. It has real-time monitoring that you can go right now and look online. The oil sands has 14, 15 different studies going on in all time, real-time air quality, water quality. It's over-monitored, probably. It's ridiculous, frankly. Did you know that if a single liter of oil spills, it must be reported and forms filled out? A liter. There's a liter of oil in where you park your car, I bet. Maybe not. Cars, I guess, don't leak quite as much now as they used to do. But a liter's like that big. So that's what I'm talking about, the kind of hyper monitoring. But listen to what the liar Rachel Notley says to the world, lying about Alberta.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today we have more confirmation of what Canadians have known for decades, even in the face of this government's denials. Oil sands activities contaminating the water supply in the lower Athabasca region, and industry monitoring of this threat has failed abysmally.
Yeah, no, that's just a lie, but hey, anything to get those donations coming in. There's so many little vids in here. Every one of them shows how much Rachel Notley hated Alberta, hated the oil sands, hated the industry, and hated people who worked in it. And I remember, actually, can you find it on our YouTube page? Or maybe it's even in there. We made a little TV style ad, of a mashup of her stuff. I'm not sure if it's in the Dropbox link I sent you there. You can probably find it on the Rebel Media page. Just do Alberta Emergency Town Hall Meeting. Martin put together a little 30-second style ad. So I remember that. I mean, she was elected in May, and in June we had those emergency town halls. And I remember my oil sands friend, oh, no, Ezra, it's not going to be that bad. No one would kill the goose that lays the golden egg. No, these are moderate New Democrats. Or my friends in the oil patch, no, we like you, Ezra, and we like your defense of the oil patch, but we have to be diplomatic now. We can't keep fighting. That's what Cap certainly said. Here's a little ad we put together for those town hall meetings. Take a look.
We told you about the Alberta NDP's new Chief of Staff.
Getting fossil-fueled cars out of our cities.
We told you about the new NDP cabinet ministers.
We do not collect an appropriate royalty for either our oil sands bitumen or our conventional oil and gas reserves.
Doing the right thing means that we have no new approvals for tar sand projects. No new approvals. No new approvals. No new approvals.
But what about the Premier herself?
Extreme environmental tragedy.
Serious environmental tragedy.
Tumored fish.
Contaminants from oil sands. Toxic, light their tap water on fire. Toxic links.
Alberta, this is an emergency. Join me, Ezra Levant, for an emergency town hall meeting.
So that was the ad we showed for our emergency town hall meetings. People said, no, you're wrong. Well, we were right, weren't we? And it is no pleasure to be right. You know, I've learned in my middle age that the words, I told you so, they sound terrible to hear those words, but there are no more sour words to pass the lips than to say those. It is much worse to say, I told you so, than to hear, I told you so, because the person who hears, I told you so, maybe they had some reason, maybe they were not convinced by you. It is okay to be wrong. But it's worse, my friends, from a moral point of view, from a self-identity point of view, to know you're right and to do everything you can to warn the world and to fail. The feeling of hopelessness is deep. We knew 4 years ago how bad it was. And I hate saying I told you so, because is that not a sign of failure on my part and those of my friends? Well, I'm not saying we could have saved the world, but it is terrible to see what was done and to know that we didn't do more to stop it. Well, that's my mea culpa. I did everything I could, and my friend Sheila Gunn Reid wrote a best-selling book called The Destroyers. Became the #1 best-selling political book in Alberta history. She followed up. You want to put these books on just show the Amazon links just for fun? Do you want to put The Destroyers? Just I want to show people the beautiful cover art. So Sheila's first book with us was called The Destroyers. And it was meticulous research into the people I showed. In fact, I think most of the videos I just showed were documented in some way. Just the Amazon cover is fine. So there it is, The Destroyers. Rachel Notley and the NDP's War on Alberta, paperback, January 16th, 2016. So we had already 6 months of evidence under our belt. You can see very high, you can see it says #1 bestseller there and 137 customer reviews. Go click on the stars or the reviews. Yeah, the reviews. Let's just see. Yeah, look at that. So many 5-star reviews. It's my experience that a few NDP style people give it 1-star reviews, but they typically are not what they call a verified reader. You know what I mean? Can you show Sheila's next book, which is The Case Against David Suzuki, an unauthorized biography. So Sheila's first huge bestseller was The Destroyer. I think it was the largest selling Alberta political book ever written. I think. Amazon gives you some stats. They don't tell you all the stats. We also actually gave that book away for free. This one, The Case Against David Suzuki, an unauthorized biography, again, 95 customer reviews. Click on the reviews. And yeah, like I say, you find 71% of people give it 5-star reviews. You have a few New Democrats saying, oh, let me read this top critical review. A clearly serious, scathing statement against David Suzuki, and a good read if you are a follower of his teaching and want to also learn about the hypocrisy in his actions, blah, 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 blah. So, that sounds like someone who actually read it. I don't know why. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm not that interested. Why he only gave it 3 stars. But it sounds like he actually did read it. And can you go to Sheila's new book, which came out just a few weeks ago? It's called Stop Notley. And it immediately zoomed up the Amazon bestseller charts, which was very exciting to see Sheila having 3 bestsellers in a row. And can you name me another journalist in Alberta? Can you name another journalist in Canada? Stop Notley, The Case for Throwing Out the NDP. Now the paperback, as you can see, has only been out for 3 weeks, so it doesn't have quite as many reviews. It has 36 reviews. And can you click on the Kindle edition? You see that little button there? Yeah, the Kindle edition. So 30, maybe it's the same reviews there. So the book's been out for not even a month. Can you go to stopnotley.com? So we did something new. We're promoting the books with lawn signs. What more fun way to do it is than that? And so we made 5,000 lawn signs that look just like that. And we have delivered them everywhere. And boy, does it ever make, can you do me a favor, can you go into Twitter and type in the search bar, Stop Notley, and then click on the media button? Do you know how to do that? So people have been posting pictures of their Stop Notley lawn signs, and I like it because it's so grassrootsy. And, oh, the bad guys go crazy over it. The CBC is crazy. You have all sorts of officious busybodies trying to get these signs taken down like we live in some, yeah, perfect. Yeah. Look at that. Perfect. Look at those. There's some other funny ones. Oh, yeah, look at that. It's that orange sign. It looks like a Notley sign. And I've had some people say, oh, it looks too much like it. There it is on the left there. And there, yeah, look at those. Look at those. People say, oh, it looks too much like the real NDP sign. Well, that's half the fun of it. Wouldn't you agree that's one of the reasons it's fun? Is that for a second, your neighbor's saying, okay, I guess we're out. Anyhow, you can find them yourself. For a second, people say, oh, what are you, some new Democrat? And then they look more closely and they say, oh, good one. And of course, that's a great way to promote a book because it's really grassrootsy. And what, do you think the CBC is going to give the book a review? They hate the book because they're just shills for the NDP. In fact, one of the most bizarre candidates for Rachel Notley, John Archer, I think is his name, used to be a CBC reporter covering Rachel Notley. Get this. So Archer, I think his first name is John, was a lead reporter for the CBC. Actually, I think he was the president of the press gallery, covering Rachel Notley's 2015 election. And then, surprise, right after the election, went to work for Rachel Notley. Went to work for her as a spin doctor. Did he get any back pay? I mean, just the corruption and the conflict of interest is unbelievable. All right, let's check the time. It's 12:46. Okay, well, I think I've gone through. I'm not going to show you anymore. I don't think you need more persuasion that the NDP hates oil, hates gas, hates pipeline. I could show you 20 videos of the same stuff. I don't really think you need them. Did I miss any super chats? Are there more super chats out there? I think I got it. If you want to make a super chat, feel free. The good thing about super chats is that we get to keep 70% of the dough. So if you want to support us, that's a way to do it. All right. Well, let me think. I'm going to switch gears now because I think we've hit that Alberta election pretty hard, and I thank you for indulging that because I love Alberta. I'm from Alberta originally, and I think about it. And I have family back there, obviously, and friends. But I know that our viewers are global. They're not just Canada-wide in America, in the UK, Australia. We have regular Super Chat people from Mexico, Sweden, I think Norway, if I'm not mistaken. We have people from all over the world. So thank you for letting me talk about my home province. The election will happen on the 16th. But I want to talk about David's video of Jordan Hunt. Now, Jordan Hunt, can we put a picture? Actually, you know what, instead of me paraphrasing, why don't we play a fair bit of the video? Do you remember that guy, that male feminist, who saw a pro-life protest? All right, you can be pro-life, you can be pro-choice, whatever, it's part of the public discussion. And there's a very nice young lady, just peacefully standing there protesting, very, very polite, as most pro-life Christians are. And this sort of male feminist weirdo comes up to her and starts arguing with her really aggressively. And she's very polite and controlled. And then he takes like a karate stance, and then he roundhouse kicks her. You know exactly who I mean. That video went super viral. Well, he's having court appearances, and the rest of the media has forgotten all about it because he's a male feminist. And he's a pro-choice weirdo extremist who's violent against women. So obviously, if he had worn a Make America Great Again red baseball cap, he would be called a hate criminal. Look, he's a hate criminal anyways. He's motivated by hate. He's a political criminal. They'd probably call him a terrorist if he wore a MAGA hat and if he were doing that to a pro-choicer. But it's the opposite. So we're the only people who are following the story. Our friend David Menzies went down to the court and asked this guy questions. I watched the entire 20-minute raw video. Now, maybe we should have put the whole 20 minutes up, but I just thought, no, that's way too long. So our team, here's 10 minutes. I'm not going to play the whole thing because we don't quite. Just a quick question, same thing. Will your live Alberta election show have Super Chat? Yes, it will. Yes, it will. Thank you for asking. But back to Jordan Hunt. Jordan Hunt, let me show you. Let's see, what time is it? It's 12:49. I don't want to play the whole thing, but let's play. Let's start it from the beginning. You know why? Because I want to remind people who he is. because I think David shows that interaction. So David has about 1 or 2 minutes of preamble, and then we'll play the interaction. So take a look.
Pre-trial hearings of Jordan Hunt. Now, in case Jordan Hunt doesn't ring a bell, folks, that's the individual who likes to go around to women at anti-abortion rallies, and he either kicks them or he pushes them, allegedly, into a live lane of traffic. And if you need a reminder, well, here's the highlight reel. Actually, it's a low light reel of Jordan Hunt in action.
It's against the law. Somebody gets raped by somebody and they're like, I'm a 16-year-old and I can't have this baby. Think you should keep it?
It's a baby. Yeah. If someone is raped and she gave birth and she decided to kill her 3-year-old child.
I meant to get your phone.
You can't harm somebody else. You can't get physical. You can disagree with somebody's message.
If you walk out into the world and harass people, then you get harassed back.
I got it. When women talk about women's rights,
tried to take that away from you. Tried to take all your pamphlets away from you. Arguably, that is wrong. Yeah, I try to knock your stupid billboard on a sign.
Okay.
So if you don't want me to with your stuff, why are you deciding to with other people's choices?
Now, the thing is, there is, believe it or not, a publication ban regarding everything that is said in the courtroom about Jordan Hunt's trial. However, a publication ban doesn't preclude us from asking Mr. Hunt questions once he gets outside in public, and that's what we're going to be waiting for. And another thing, I really want to find out if he's showing any contrition, if he has any empathy for his victims, and if he's going to actually man up and deliver an apology to the woman he kicked, Marie-Claire Bissonnette. So let's see what happens when Jordan Hunt comes out of this courtroom. Jordan Hunt, do you have any words to say to Marie-Claire Bissonnette?
Hold still.
Well, not quite a roundhouse kick, but what kind of a assault was that? It looked like circus clown confetti. Jordan, who's paying your legal bills? Jordan, it doesn't seem that you're very tough when a man is asking you questions. You like to ambush women.
Man, this is what those look like?
By the way, how come your hair isn't purple and you don't have a flower anymore there?
How come you have to use cameras like these to record? How come did the budget end at like the cheap suit? Is it?
Well,
yeah, it's cheap.
Well, you know, I mean, you're very touchy-feely, but why is it that you like to assault women so much? You have no, contrition. You have no empathy, it seems.
Really want to take your glasses. I miss them.
Oh, do you? Do you really want to assault me?
Just like mine. I like them.
You know, Jordan, there are many viewers on our website that would like to challenge you to a boxing match. Would you like to take them up?
8 of them?
Oh, 8. 1.2 million, actually, but... Jordan, what do you think of your new nickname, Cuck Norris?
It's actually Stiffy. My nickname has always been Stiffy. It's never been whatever that.
I find that hard to believe. A lot of people refer to you as Cuck Norris.
A lot of people refer to you as a Nazi.
Oh, a Nazi. That's very interesting. My grandfather fought the Nazis for 5 years in the Second World War. By the way, speaking of family, what does your family think of you kicking women and pushing women into traffic? Do you have any family, or have they disowned you?
Could ask you the same question.
You could.
Do you realize you're harassing me?
I am. I'm just asking questions.
As long as you just admitted and you know that you are harassing me.
I'm just
harassing me. You said I am?
I'm just asking questions.
Yeah, but too bad you're not a reporter.
You threw some sort of confetti in my face and then started touching my soot.
It's like a smoke screen.
Have you ever used a smoke bomb on a defenseless woman?
Smoke bomb on a defenseless woman. Right.
You have no contrition, do you? You have no sense of empathy. You will not apologize to these women, will you, for these heinous sneak attacks?
You're not a real reporter. You're just harassing me.
Well, if I'm not real, I guess you can just pretend I'm your shadow and you can say whatever you want then.
You're a harassing fake reporter.
Oh, I see. So you're concerned about me harassing you, but you kicked a woman and you threw a woman into a live lane of traffic. On film.
You can edit things on. Look at Avatar. Do you think Avatar happened? Do you think that people went to another planet?
Hey guys, that video you saw of me kicking that girl, you know, that was a Hollywood special effects like Avatar. I found that engrossing and infuriating, and I tell you, can I invite you, again, just like I showed you a bit of Kian's video at the beginning, can I invite you to find that video on our website, watch the whole thing, and just as much fun, frankly, more fun, is to read the viewer comments in response. Oh my God. You know, I think some women can see through male feminists, but all men can see through male feminists, because all men can immediately detect a guy who has this fake, sneaky, like just, if you read the comments, and I don't spend a lot of time reading YouTube comments, but the YouTube comments angry about that guy are almost 95% male. In fact, come to think of it, I haven't seen a single YouTube comment critical of that guy that isn't a male. Maybe I should look more carefully. Guys hate male feminists because it is a sign of falsity and trickery. And, you know, I mentioned this the other day, Gad Saad, the professor from Montreal, has a phrase. He says there's an evolutionary tactic to being a male feminist. He calls it being a sneaky, F-U-C-K-E-R, a sneaky effer. You trick a woman into thinking that you're like a male ally, and then you have sex with them. So you're not an alpha male, strong, protect women, be a provider male. You're like a sneaky effer. I just don't want to say the swear. So this guy isn't even that. I don't even know if he's heterosexual. I think he just is a diabolical guy. I think he just is in fact, there's a part in the video where David asks him if he's wearing a pendant that's satanic. Wouldn't surprise me. You heard his laugh there. It's a bit maniacal. Anyways, that's just great television, and that's from our friend David Menzies. I see there was another super chat that I think I missed. Let me just grab it here. Here we go. Captain Carter chips in $10. Ezra, is independent Alberta the best option? Bill 69, Bill C-48. Albertans are tired of and BC holding hostage Albertans' economy. Love your work. Well, thank you for that and for your support. I guess I would say a couple things. First of all, Alberta independence would have some immediate benefits. No more equalization payments, no more being dictated to by a distant and partisan king, namely Justin Trudeau. No more bilingualism laws, no more foreign aid to Trudeau's friends. So it would get out of a lot of BS. And although Alberta is landlocked, it has a border with the United States. And I think that the United States would be very interested in having warm relations with Alberta, especially when it comes to oil and gas. And I think the United States would love to have Alberta's oil and gas. In fact, it may want it more than it wants the rest of Canada to have it. So BC and Quebec can get their wish. I should tell you, and I find it a depressing statistic, that Canada is a net exporter of oil. We produce more oil and sell more oil than we buy from foreigners. But Western Canada produces the excess. Eastern Canada imports it. It's because there's no pipelines. That's the weirdness of it. The second weirdness is that we sell our exports at a below market price because of the lack of pipelines, but we import our oil, obviously, at world prices. So who would do that? Who would buy high and sell low? That's what Canada's doing. And you know who the number one source of Canadian oil imports is? The United States. The United States, isn't that weird? My point is, if Alberta was independent, Alberta would be free from a lot of shenanigans, and it would have an American ally. There would be a lot of problems with it, though. And I say the obvious point: who has been the demon in Alberta from an oil patch point of view? Who has demonized? Who has attacked? Who has tried to strangle the oil patch? It was Rachel Notley from Alberta. So that doesn't solve all the problems. And I don't think it would solve a problem of a pipeline through BC, but you would get a pipeline through the United States right away. Folks, it's 1 p.m. on the nose. Thank you for watching. Thank you to those who chipped in with the live chat. I say again, on April 16th, the night of the election, we will have a YouTube Super Chat, live chat for the election results. I think I'll be here in Toronto. My friends Kian and Sheila will be in Calgary. I wonder if Jason Kenney's going to keep us out of the election night event. They have refused to answer us definitively yet. In fact, I think they're going to try and ban us. They will welcome in Charles Adler and the CBC to their election night event, but they will ban the Rebel. They're weird that way, and it's a blind spot Jason Kenney has. And I think if he doesn't fix that blind spot, his anti-populist, anti-grassroots snobbery will come back and bite him. Obviously, I want anyone but Rachel Notley to be premier, and I think Jason Kenney will be a good premier. But if he continues this snobby, weird, look down his nose at grassroots Albertans, I think that will be a problem that will get worse and worse. It's a blind spot. I hope he fixes it. Until tonight, when I have my show at 8 p.m. Eastern, on behalf of all of us here at Rebel World Headquarters, to you at home, goodbye, and keep fighting for freedom.